Today's review is sponsored by the new hit Broadway show, Gynecology, looking for love in all the wrong places. Get your tickets now.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
The car. If you're a Stephen King fan, you've heard of Christine the Killer Car. Well, today, we're talking about Christine's daddy. It's funny how there are enough killer vehicle movies to make its own subgenre. Christine, of course, Maximum Overdrive, which are both based on Stephen King stories. You got Killdozer, I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle, and The Car. You can also include movies like Duel in there, but the truck isn't alive in that one. The movie takes place in a small desert town. We horror fans know that small towns are the worst place to live. A strange car has been speeding through the streets, running down pedestrians. The local sheriff Wade, played by James Brolin of Amityville Horror fame, tries desperately to capture the sadistic driver, but he soon learns that won't be so easy.
There was no driver in the car.
The police force gets smaller and smaller as officers keep getting flattened, and Wade is running out of options to stop the demonic car. The car will intrigue horror fans right from the opening credits. Have a listen. Sound familiar, right? I actually learned this recently. My friend Emily showed me a video that explains that this particular score has been used in many movies to create a sense of dread. It's called the Dies Irae, and it's a funeral chant from the 13th century. Ever since I learned this, I've watched movies and listened for those 4 notes. And I found out that it's in plenty of movies. Next scary movie night, listen to the music, and you'll notice those 4 notes, just in different patterns and tempos. Like I said, the movie takes place in a small town, which is one of the perfect settings for a horror movie, when done right. All the locals know each other, and it can make you feel like you're part of the community.
You know what your father once said to me? I was gonna make it up anyhow. How you doing?
That can help you care about the characters, so you can be afraid for them when they're in danger. Wade is a good main character. He's a single father of 2 little girls, and his relationship with his daughters is one of the best parts of the movie.
Well, what would you guys think if I married Lauren?
You still like it when I cook, don't you?
Sure, as long as I don't have to eat Brussels sprouts.
You grow to like him because he tries to be a good father, while also trying to have a relationship with a woman named Lauren. He's trying to get his daughters used to the idea of having this woman in their lives. Lauren is also a fun character.
Little maneuver I learned from one of my 4th graders. She had all the little boys terrorized, got all their ice cream money. Fat little slob she was, but the queen. She was the queen.
The main appeal of the car for me is something that's missing from a lot of modern horror movies. Quirky characters. I miss having characters that aren't afraid to be goofy. A horror movie doesn't have to be a horror comedy in order to have fun characters. I like camp in my movies. It makes for an entertaining sit.
That'll teach you to jump to conclusions.
The car itself is good and threatening. Like in Christine, they managed to give this faceless machine a personality. What makes it an effective villain is the lack of explanation. How is this car able to drive on its own? We never really know. It's hinted that there's something demonic about the car, but it's left vague.
Come on, over here!
I like that. So many movies nowadays have to have an explanation for how something works. They spoon-feed so much to the audience. There has to be a reason why the killer, ghost, or monster does what they do. There has to be some kind of backstory. It's like Hollywood filmmakers and producers don't think the audience is smart enough to figure things out on their own, or make their own interpretations. Leaving things vague can make a movie more effective. What's life without a little mystery? When you have a killer like this in a horror movie, it can be hard to make the kills stand out. It's not like in a slasher movie, where the killer has different weapons or methods they can use. When your killer is a vehicle or a monster, there's usually only one means of killing. Jaws could only eat people. Christine could only run people over. But those movies were still able to make each kill stand out. When your killer has a limited option for killing, you have to be creative in how you handle the death. The car manages to make each kill different. The movie is also unpredictable. You do have characters that we know are just there to be cannon fodder, but you also have characters that you don't think are going to die, and they kill them off. It puts you on edge, because anybody could die. This is a PG horror movie, but it was made back in the 1970s, when PG actually meant something.
Come on, let me tell you something, buddy. You know what you are? A chicken! You're a chicken shit! Scum of the earth! Son of a bitch!
Rated PG. The car definitely focuses more on being entertaining than scary, but it still has some good moments of suspense. This mostly comes in the third act, like the scene when Wade discovers the car hiding in his garage. As much as I enjoy the car, there are a few elements that prevent it from becoming more than just a fun movie for me. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a fun movie, and I'm happy to have it in my collection, but there are just a few things that hold it back from being a great horror movie. There are certain elements introduced, but the movie doesn't do much with them. It's revealed that one of the officers used to have a drinking problem. When all this carnage happens with the car, he falls off the wagon. Now, this does prevent him from canceling a parade practice which the car comes to and raises some havoc, but he never really suffers any consequences because of it. He starts drinking, people die because of it, and all is forgiven. It feels like an afterthought. You could have still had the incident at the parade practice without giving a guy a drinking problem. There's also the Amos character. He's a guy who beats his wife.
I just don't think you ought to be hitting that lady.
Oh, you don't, huh? That's my wife. None of your damn business. Now get the hell out of here.
They introduce this character in the first act. He's the first one to witness the car killing somebody. It's also revealed that the sheriff is friends with his battered wife. This is forgotten about for the second act, and then the Amos character is brought back in the third act, and he's made into one of the heroes of the movie.
We need you.
We're supposed to forget that this guy beats his wife. Usually in a horror movie, a character like this would be killed off. But in here, not only does he live, but he helps save the day.
No time to plant your sticks. We'll get across the other side and place as many boxes as we can.
Amos, where's the road?
Just below the rise there.
Come on.
This could have easily been fixed. Just don't make this guy a wife beater. Maybe make him the town drunk instead, slightly comedic when he's sloshed. These elements take the movie down a little for me. Time for the Grindhouse rankings. We've got a body count of 10. It might be a little higher, but there are some that could just easily be injuries. The kills mostly consist of vehicle carnage. It's a PG horror movie that's not afraid to be on the edgier side. The killer is very simple, but works. It's easy to be intimidated by a car speeding at you. It's a fun movie and has quirky characters, but there is one major asshole. I'm giving this one a 3.7 out of 5. It's not a perfect movie, but it is a lot of fun. It's worth checking out at least once. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like what I do here, or give it a thumbs down if you don't like what I do here. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite road-based horror movie. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. I'm okay.